These are origin stories that I personally want to see. Shepherd Book from Firefly / Serenity from Joss Whedon, creation of Joss Whedon. You know a character is ripe for an origin story when the characters in the show they are in want to know that character's origin story. Shepherd Book is a perfect example. Several times the characters are like, how does a shepherd know this? Or one day you gotta tell me why you know this stuff. And Shepherd Book is like, yeah, I'm not telling you. So bit of air of mystery to this character. Shepherd Book is obviously a, mentor, wisdom, almost like a fatherly figure, spiritual guide, figure on board the Serenity and to the other characters. We never found out what this character's origins were. I mean, sure, he's a preacher. He seems to be a priest, a cleric of some kind, and yet he knows a lot about the military. He knows a lot about guns. He's a pretty good marksman. Who is this guy? So that's what we want to explore in the origin story of Shepherd Book. Now, yes, there is a graphic novel comic book that does explain the origins of Shepherd Book, his early life, what kind of he did before he had his conversion, his actual conversion itself. By all means, just straight up adapt that comic book graphic novel onto the screen. I'm fine with that. I personally have absolutely no problem with that. I just want to make sure, definitely get in the conversion to Christianity in there. I mean, but obviously I'm going to say that. I'm Christian myself. I want to see a nice, strong, genuine Christian conversion. How about you get that one guy from Bridgerton? How about you get him to play young Shepherd Book? I think that would be great. Ron Glass, who played Shepherd Book, is no longer with us. I always suspected that Shepherd Book was part of the crowd, hot CIA level kind of version in the verse. He would have worked with the 2x2 Hands of Blue people that are after River Tam. That's what I thought. What is your theory? Put in the chat. Next up, we have Angela the Fortune Teller, also known as Angela the Herbalist, from the Aragon books, also known as the Inheritance Cycle from Christopher Paolini. Now, Angela the Fortune Teller over here is a very mysterious, very enigmatic character. Fortunately, she's always fighting for the good guys. So, we really don't know who she is exactly. There is a moment where the main hero, Aragon, he sees Angela the Herbalist, and this is right before a big battle. He sees Angela the Herbalist returning from a mysterious errand. And he's like, wait, what were you up to? What were you doing? And Angela the Herbalist goes like, don't you trust me? And Aragon goes, not really. She is, good boy, you'll live longer if you don't trust people. I'm like, and she doesn't even mention the mysterious errand she went on or anything like that. So it's like, who exactly is this? And she has a sword that is made of diamond. The blade is made of diamond. How did she get that sword? And how did she meet Sullembum, the werecat she was always hanging around with? How does, she seems to have magic of some kind, but she's definitely not a rider, a dragon rider. How did she learn that? It's crazy. She knows so much. She's always everywhere. She can do mysterious things, apparently. She seems to be human, but is she fully human? Is she something else? And honestly, there's just so many mysteries to unravel with Angela the Fortune Teller. And the good thing is, if you ever bring her story to the big screen or anything like that, or even a small screen, because Christopher Paolini based this character off his sister, the sister should definitely have a cameo in it. Sherlock Holmes, but from the perspective of Inspector Lestrade. So, but if you read any of the original stories, you'll know that there was basically the first time Sherlock Holmes ever investigated any sort of crime scene. This was in his university days. I believe it was called the Musgrave Ritual. Then there's kind of a gap in time that we don't know about. And then there's the time when Holmes meets Watson. We do know that story of when Holmes meets Watson. So my idea is to have the story after the Musgrave Ritual and before he met Watson. Very important. I don't want to mess with any of the established mythology, the lore of Sherlock Holmes. I should be able to plop this story in, and it doesn't mess with anything else. We don't know Sherlock Holmes day one as a consulting detective, so that's kind of what I want to see. So Inspector Lestrade is a rising star in Scotland Yard. He's very good at what he does. He's really good with handling the press and the media. One day, when he is investigating a case, he quite literally, I say, he bumps into this random civilian. He's just this complete weirdo. He seems to be spouting all sorts of nonsense, and he's kind of bouncing all over the place, looking here and there in very weird places. Inspector Lestrade is just completely baffled, but he sees a civilian on a crime scene, and he seems to know something about the case. So Lestrade's just like, okay, you're coming with me, buddy. goes to Scotland Yard, starts talking to the guy, and Holmes finally starts, quote, making sense to Inspector Lestrade. Naturally, the person is Sherlock Holmes himself. This is day one, basically, of him actually working as a consulting detective. Very important here, I want some character growth, I want a character arc in this story, so Sherlock Holmes is not going to be, the refined, classy gentleman you kind of see him. He's going to be brilliant, yes, but he's going to be kind of very dismissive, kind of arrogant, kind of when it comes to the police, because he knows he's way smarter than these guys. He doesn't really know how to be a proper detective yet. He doesn't really know, like, the customer service, so to speak, the public relations aspect of being a professional consulting detective. Lestrade, obviously, at the station, Lestrade he realizes Sherlock is right. He, knows a couple of things. He's clearly not involved in the case, so he lets Sherlock Holmes go. It's like, okay, look, stay out of our way, Mr. Holmes. Fast forward to the second act, again on a new case. Inspector Lestrade, again, I say literally, bumps into Sherlock Holmes. Holmes has been on this case for a while already, so he knows things that can help the police. And as much as Lestrade doesn't want to work with this guy anymore, he realizes, okay, he has knowledge, he has contacts, so I have to work with this guy at least on this particular case until it's done. It's a team up. So this is where you kind of get that classic buddy cop dynamic, but of course it's in, the Victorian era England. Lestrade is your hardcore, by the book, follow the rules, hardcore detective. And Sherlock Holmes is the, so again, that's the buddy cop dynamic. Again, they are not friends yet. That's very important because that doesn't come until later. That doesn't come until a long time from now. So they go through the case, they're investigating, they see how each other works, and then in the climax, Holmes, naturally, of course, figures it out first. So he immediately, just as soon as he figures it out, he just jumps up and heads right to the scene. A little while later, Lestrade figures it out as well, so he gathers some extra detectives from Scotland Yard and also heads out to the scene. And cut to Holmes. He sees everything, he's checking everything out, and he realizes, okay, I can do this, but it would be a lot less dangerous if there was someone else here, such as, say, another member of the police, or Inspector Lestrade, and that's where the character growth comes in. Now, we can't wait until backup arrives, because, it's too dangerous, and the bad guy's going to get away with it. So he takes the character growth. He trusts that Lestrade is going to figure it out, and that they will come. So Holmes makes his move, so to speak. Naturally, of course, Lestrade and Scotland Yard and the other constables, they all do arrive in time. They find Sherlock Holmes in a pickle, so to speak, backed up in a corner. And so while Lestrade seems to save the day, turns out, oh no, he finds out, oh no, Sherlock trusted that Lestrade would figure out and, basically save him at the last minute. So they put away the bad guy, case closed, they're wrapping up. So Lestrade goes from this, kind of grudging tolerance of Holmes to, genuine respect. Again, very important, not friends yet. So again, it's kind of a grudging, if reluctant, respect. And Holmes also gets he becomes slightly more humble because he realizes, okay, yes, I'm clearly smarter than everyone at the police, but they just have, resources and, manpower that I clearly as one person do not have. So we are on the same team, they're our allies, I'll work with them. And then of course, at the end, the final scene, Lestrade and Holmes are talking. Holmes overhears a constable talking to a random woman. Holmes goes over to investigate, seems to ask a few questions, then comes back to Lestrade. Lestrade asks, what was that all about? Holmes goes, oh, that was Mrs. Hudson of Baker Street. She has a room available for renting. Is that important to the case? No, but I'm looking for apartments to live in. Oh, okay, well, good luck. And so they walk away. Holmes takes off down the street in London, and then Lestrade looks down the road, and it's at night in Victorian London, foggy night. There's a gas lamp visible, and you see the silhouette of Sherlock Holmes, deerstalker on, cane in hand, pipe in the mouth, and then next up, Captain Phasma from Star Wars. Okay, am I the only one who thought Captain Phasma was completely wasted? But let me just take a look at Captain Phasma. Absolute boss. Look at the chrome stormtrooper armor. Like, who is this person? How did she get so high ranking? Because we never really had too many high ranking female villains in Star Wars and non-force users in Star Wars. So yeah, let's find out the origin of Captain Phasma. Again, I believe there is a book. out there already that explains Captain Phasma's origins. By all means, just adapt that. I want to see more of Captain Phasma. Yes, explain the origin of Captain Phasma, and yes, absolutely get Gwendolyn Christie back to play Captain Phasma if you put it to this big or small screen. Because highly, highly underutilized character here in Captain Phasma.